Hi guys and welcome back. So as you can probably tell, I've bought another Range Rover, and this isn't your typical Range Rover Sport. This is a HST, which is a really rare one, and I got this car for an absolute bargain. Anyway, let me quickly show you around a few things on this car that are a bit different to your normal Range Rover Sport and that make this HST a bit special and different to it. Of course, it being one of my cars, it's going to need things that are going to need to be fixed on it, and that's why I've got it so cheap. But of course, being a Range Rover, there's not only one thing that needs to be fixed on this, there's multiple things at the same time. So the main things that I've noticed so far on this car that I need to fix is one of them being the suspension. That's typical Range Rover, and we need to scan the car and look into that and figure out what it is. And I've also got a light on the dash that's flashing up full one of the headlights, so I need to figure out what's going on there, and then we can kind of try and look into it and sort all that stuff out. As well as that, we need to clean the bodywork up on it a little bit because it's not perfect to me and it should be perfect. The other issue that we've got then is a dashboard in the car, which is absolutely knackered. So I'm going to try and get a new dash for it and then put it in. Anyway, let me show you around the car and I'll show you all the things on this that make it stand out compared to a normal Range Rover Sport, for example. Let's hop out and have a look around it. Okay, so one of the key features on here that makes it a HST is you see these trims here. They're kind of like a really nice dark black wood trim, and you only get these on the HSTs. They're this really nice sort of black kind of gold wood effect sort of material. I don't quite know what it is, but I really like it. It's really nice. So it's kind of black, but it's got like gold little wood grain to it, which is quite cool. And another thing, as you can probably tell here, it's got Harman Kardon Logic 7 speakers, which is kind of like an upgrade. I think usually they have standard speakers, there's Harman Kardon, and then there's a Harman Kardon Logic 7, which is what this has. Okay then, so for a tour of the outside, the things that make this a HST compared to the other ones is mainly the body kit on the car as well. So the main things that make this stand out is it's pretty much got a wider body kit on it, or like a more aggressive sort of body kit on the car. The front bumper is one of the main things that makes it a HST, as well as the grille on it. Usually they come in grey as well, but this one it's been colour coded black as well, which I quite like, to be honest. And the grille as well, that's usually grey around the outside, but this one's black, and I think it's been done really nicely. Then down here as well, we've got a set of diamond cut wheels. They look like they've been recently refurbished, and they're a really nice touch in my opinion. Smoked indicator, not my favourite sort of thing on the car, but I'm not complaining. And down here as well, side steps on the car. This skirt here on the HST is a little bit wider. And then round the back as well, one of the main things is the bumper on the car. So usually they don't come with this thing on the car, like a sort of trim for it, but the bumper is like a HST thing. As you can see, it's more aggressive and more wider. Another nice touch on this compared to most of the other ones is it's got some aftermarket rear lights on it that are black kind of clear lights, and I think they're Hella. It's got a little emblem on the inside of there anyway that says they're Hella, so they're a good brand and they're nice lights. It really kind of sets it off in my opinion compared to usually being red and, you know, orange, all that sort of thing. Nice touch. As well as that then, these are usually grey as well. As you can see, this outer line from here down, they're usually grey, but on this as well it's been colour coded black, which is a nice touch. It's got square exhaust pipes on it, which, you know, I'm not too keen on at first, but I think they look pretty nice. Another thing that's been done to the car then is pretty much this trim here is usually, say, just kind of like gloss black plastic or whatever, and that's been painted and colour coded, which is a good touch. Another thing that makes a HST stand out then compared to the others is it's got a bigger rear spoiler, like a lip spoiler that comes down. Also, this trim down here is a bit wider and chunkier than the usual Range Rover Sport one, and standing back at it, it really does look the part. I'm a big fan of this. I never used to really like these, but when they look like this and they have all this stuff on them, I'm a big fan. And they've got a V8 in them, a V8 diesel. What can go wrong? Oh wait, it's a Range Rover. Weirdly though, I never used to really be a big fan of Range Rovers, but some of the things on these cars, they really stand out to me and they set it apart from the rest of the cars on the road. Little things then, pretty much just like how it's got a fridge in it, it's got all, you know, heated windscreen, heated seats front and rear. You know, I mean, by today's technology, there's probably, you know, a lot more clever stuff going on, but it's just got some really nice bits on it. But the biggest problem with these cars, as you probably know, is their reliability, and that's what lets them down. As well as that, this is V8 diesel, and it only does 25 miles per gallon. That's one of the main reasons I'm probably not going to keep this car. I did want to, but the fuel economy in it, I just can't justify it. And when you're driving around in a Range Rover every day, it's kind of going to cost you a fortune to repair and to run, and I'm a bit too tight for that anyway. But standing back at it, it really does look amazing. For a car of this age, it looks so nice, and I feel like this is what they should have done to all of the Range Rover Sports. The more aggressive body kit on it and the wider stuff, it just makes it look a lot better. So they're the good things on the car, of course. Now we need to sort out a few of the defects on it. Let me talk about that. So then, looking at the dashboard, as you can probably tell, it's cracked in multiple places and it's pretty much too far gone in my opinion. So what I'm going to try and do is source another dashboard, take this one out and put the new one in. As well as that, of course, these need to be fixed at the same time. That one's not too bad, but it's starting to come away. Another thing about the car is it's got a sunroof, which I think is quite a rare thing on these, but I'm not going to complain. I'm not really a sunroof fan, but it's nice to have, isn't it? You're probably also wondering then, how much have I actually paid for this car? It's a good question. I've only paid £2,000 for this car, and the best thing about it then is the most common problem on these is usually that the turbos go. And when I bought it, it's got a bill with it that says the turbos have been done with a receipt for nearly £2,000, which I think is fantastic. Anyway then, enough of me nattering. What we've got to do now, of course, it being one of my cars, I've got it cheap enough to fix up and to make a profit on. Of course, there are a few things that we need to look at, like I've said. Okay then, so when I turn the ignition on, right, so I've got the ignition on. As you can probably tell already, the headlight is flashing still and the car's not even on. That's definitely going to be an issue that we need to fix. Turn the car on and you'll see the dash fault. See down there, that's the suspension fault we've got on. If you look at all of these level sensors here, everything there looks okay, so we can also rule that out as being one of the issues on it. Anyway, let's see how we get on. So then we've just scanned the car, and this is a fault code that we've coming up, which I'm pretty sure is bringing on the suspension light on the car. And as you can see, it's to do with a sensor, and I've looked into it, and it's literally just underneath my seat on the underside of the car. So we're going to get one of those, change it out, and hopefully that solves our issue. Let me show you then basically what I've done to try and figure this out. So if I go into the live data here as well, so as you can see then, sensor supply voltage, it's got no reading there at all. So I'm going to check everything's okay on it, and if it's not, I'm pretty sure it's just as simple as a dead sensor. And they're only about £30 to order, so that's what I'm going to do. Check it and basically take the other one off and put the new one on. So the sensor then is literally directly under here. Let's have a look. Right, so here, just under the car, is the ACE pump, which basically controls hydraulics in the suspension itself. And I'm pretty sure it's this sensor just here that we need to take off. So I'm going to unplug that, get the old one out and put the new one in, and hopefully that should solve our issue. I'm going to get a 27 on here, a flexi head, and we should just be able to get in there. Right then, so we've sorted that sensor out. That's one of the problems out of the way. What we do now then is hopefully try and solve the issue with the headlight out. Okay then, so the other main fault on this car then is to do with, I think, the left headlight. So if I look on here, it says left actuator communication fault. So if you see here, missing message from the headlamp power module, basically, I think that's basically the ECU and the headlight's gone. So what I'm going to do is check all the connections are okay. If it's not, it's definitely going to be the headlight. So easy option to sort it out is to get a new headlight, swap it out, and hopefully that should solve our issue. Fingers crossed anyway. I've managed to source another headlight which was only £30. Let's pop the bonnet, get under there and get the old headlight out. Right, so this is a headlight I need to swap out for the other one which I've got down here. So then to remove that headlight, all I need to do is remove the grille and a couple of tabs which are here and here, as you can see. So I need to undo all these clips, push them down, and then the grille itself should literally just pull straight off. Unfortunately then, after checking both the fuses and all of the connections for the headlights, I did actually trace it back to the headlight in the end. What I actually found out after I removed the headlight, that the control module for this had completely corroded and it was filled with water. I looked online to try and find another replacement control module, but I couldn't actually find one online, and the Range Rover main dealer were asking near £300 for this. The best option then was to just get another headlight and replace it. Okay then, so now we've sorted that out, it's time to move on and swap the dashboard out for the new one that I've got. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much hassle. Anyway, let's see how we get on. But first of all, I need to disconnect the battery, so I'm going to do that, leave the car for half an hour, and then start messing around with the electrics a little bit. I thought this would be a pretty good idea, considering I don't exactly feel like having an airbag go off in my face. Now then, to get the dashboard out, what I've firstly got to do is I've got to take all the centre console trimmings out, as well as basically the gear shifter, sat-nav, radio, all of that stuff, and then take apart all the trims at each side. After we've got the majority share of it out of the way, all we have to do is undo the bolts that hold it onto the metal brace for the dashboard, and we can wiggle it out of the way and over the steering wheel. Okay then, so we've got the new dash in, and I've quickly cleaned up the interior, and now it looks absolutely immaculate in here. See for yourself. So then, as you can see, I've got the new dashboard in, everything's back together. This one, as you can tell, has no cracks in it, and it looks absolutely immaculate. As well as that, I've also cleaned up the roof lining because it was a bit grimy before, and I think it makes a big difference overall to the inside of the car. I've cleaned up the seats in here, I've cleaned the carpets, everything's back together, and now, to me, this looks absolutely perfect in here. It looks absolutely immaculate inside of here now, and just to top it all off, when you think things can't get any better, they really can. Okay then, so the moment of truth. Are the fault codes going to reappear, or have they disappeared? My word, it's a Christmas miracle, a Range Rover without any dash faults on it. But of course, there are another couple of little touches that I'm going to do before I put this car up for sale. Let me show you what I mean then. Okay, so now what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a new badge on, get this old one off, as well as touching up some stone chips on here and a new number plate. I'm just putting some tape on the outside of the old badge so that when I put the new one on, it's going to be pretty straight and fairly in line with the old one. Unbelievably as well, not long after this, I quickly cleaned the car, got some photos of it, I put it up for sale, and I literally sold it the next morning, which is much more than I expected. So, good news, the Range Rover has just sold. I've just taken a deposit on it at asking price. So, I put this car up for $5,650. So, the new owner then, they're going to be coming to collect this car tomorrow, and everything should fly through safely anyway. Anyway then guys, I just want to say a big thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more cars that I'm doing, more cars that I'm getting, anything like that, don't forget to tap down below, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.